Hi Byron. Hi everybody watching. My name is Jared Mark and I make cartoons. Now, if my 6-year-old self heard my grown man self say that I make cartoons, he would be very, very excited. And he'd probably be a little bit confused because I have never, ever in my life been an incredible visual artist. I love to draw, but it's not my thing. And it's not my thing in my job either. That's not what I do on cartoons. I don't draw them. I'm what's called a producer. So what's that? Well, a producer makes things, right? Yeah. And in a cartoon or a TV show or a movie or a play, a producer helps make sure that all the different parts, all the different pieces all fit together so that we're telling the same story. And so that the project can keep moving along from beginning all the way to the very end, even if it takes a really long time to make. Sometimes it takes more than a year to make, even longer. So I get to sort of think about that whole puzzle and how all those different pieces are going to work together to tell the same story. So I'm not working alone, ever. I am always working with at least a few people, maybe even hundreds of people all over the world to tell a story. And it's really fun. I get to work with all of them. And the best part is that I get to work with my brother and with 2 of my best friends. And together, we've got a company called the Bureau of Magic. And we make a bunch of stuff, but one of the things you might know, maybe, is a show called Lost in Oz. And it's based on The Wizard of Oz and all the Oz books by L. Frank Baum. I'd love it if you would check it out. And as a producer on that show, I get to do a whole bunch of different fun jobs. So I'll tell you about a few of them. One of them is I'm a writer on the show. So I get to help write the scripts. So everything that happens on a show is put into a script. It's all the things the characters say and do, but that's not the only thing that's in there. It's also all the stuff that happens without words. So things like what a character is thinking or feeling or why they're doing what they're doing. Every single thing that happens on that screen is in that script. And so if anything changes along the way, we have to make sure that everybody working on the show all gets those changes, that everybody's script changes the same way so that we're all still telling the same story and one person's not out there making some different show now. So once that script is good to go, I get to do one of my most favorite parts of my job, which is working with the voice actors, the actors whose voices you hear in the cartoons. So we take those scripts, we take them to a recording studio where really smart, talented sound engineers and sound designers, they use cool recording equipment and microphones to help capture all the voices of the actors as we play and figure out how it's going to sound. Those editors put all those voices together and they string them all together in a long timeline, and that becomes the radio play. It's the whole show, but with no pictures yet, just what we hear. And so when we've got that radio play, then the animators take it, the artists, the visual artists, and they start putting pictures to it. You may have seen those. They start with things called storyboards, which looks a lot like comic books, right? And so an editor takes all those different storyboards, those comic book panels, and puts them together with that radio play into something called an animatic. And it's like the hand-drawn black and white version of a show. So from there, we get to start making it really come to life. Animators start turning those hand-drawn pictures into 3D pictures, on our show anyway. Our show is a 3D show. So then it starts feeling like the characters are actually in a real space. They're actually 3-dimensional. Other artists, meanwhile, are working on the backgrounds and the clothes and the facial expressions and the props, and every step of the way, animators start adding more and more layers of detail. And now again, I don't do that stuff. I just get to help out. I get to talk to them. I get to help steer it. I get to help ask the right questions, or maybe sometimes the wrong questions, and help us all focus on what is going to help best tell the story in each little moment. Once we've got all of those incredible pictures, and now it looks like a real show, but we're missing something really important. Sound, right? We have the voices, but what about everything else we hear? We still need all that stuff. And that's one of my absolute favorite parts of the job, is working with sound designers to help fill out everything that we hear in a show. And all that stuff we hear does so much work in helping us understand what a story is really about. A lot of storytelling happens in sound. So, what about background noises? What about the sounds of cars or airplanes or a spaceship landing or whatever that story might need? We help fill that in. I like to take a second and just think about all the sounds we hear around us all the time. I know a lot of you kids watching are in a hospital right now, and I've spent some time in hospitals too. And I'm always blown away by all the different sounds that you hear in a hospital. A hospital can be a pretty loud place sometimes, but all of those sounds help tell a story. What's happening right around you? What's happening way down the hall? What's happening in the room next door? All of those things help tell the story of life in a hospital, right? If that's the story we're telling today. So in a show, we do the same kind of thing. Maybe a scene is so quiet you can hear a fly buzzing around. Maybe it's so loud that you can't concentrate. Who knows? Another big part of the sound story is the music. Music does a ton of work to help you know when you're watching something how you're supposed to feel about it. You can imagine a scene where somebody's walking down a hallway and the music's kind of creepy and it's a little suspenseful and it makes you lean forward, or maybe it makes you pull away. But imagine that same scene. Nothing changes about the picture. Still walking down the hallway, but now the music is like a dance party music. Well, suddenly that person walking down the hallway, when we're watching it, we have a whole different feeling about what that scene's going to be about, just because the music changes. So I said before, my job is to take all these different parts, right, and make sure that they're all working together. And that doesn't mean that I get to just boss everybody around and say it's this way or else. It's the opposite. I get to really listen to all these smart, talented people who specialize in these different jobs, and I help to recognize and understand all the best ideas happening and how those best ideas are going to work together. And what we hope is that everybody involved is using their best creative minds to come up with the best, most clever solutions to problems, and the best ideas rise to the top. And that way, if everybody's putting their best ideas forward, and while at the same time everyone's really doing a good job of listening to everyone else's good ideas, well, then it becomes a really collaborative art form where everyone's best self is put into it and the best ideas rise to the top and the whole project just gets better because of it. That is always the dream. That's the goal, and that's what we strive to do every day. And it's just fun. I love that. I love working with people. And maybe one day you'll come and we'll get to make stories together. I would just love that too. So if you are at all interested in this, you can find out more about me and about the Bureau of Magic at www.bureauofmagic.com. You can find me at jared.mark@bureauofmagic.com. That's my email. Drop me a line. Tell me what you're interested in and if anything I said interested you. I really want to thank Byron for inspiring me with all the incredible things you're building and doing and making and putting out in the world. And thank you for inviting me to talk a little bit about what I love to do. So, yeah, keep doing all the brilliant things you guys are doing, and I can't wait to see what you do. Okay, bye.